Alright, today we're making dill pickles, so we're going to go ahead and fill this pot up with water so we can sterilize our jars and lids. And this is going to take a while. Alright, so now that that is full of jars and lids that we're going to sterilize, we're going to go ahead and throw this on the stove. You want to make sure there's a lot of water for the canning we're going to do, and also in case some of the water evaporates during the sterilization process. Alright, so now that that's over with, we are going to make our pickle brine with the Miss Wages pickle mix. You could be like, well, why don't you make your own brine? I'm lazy. Also, I mean, if it works, it works. The only time I've ever made my own brine was when I made fermented pickles. I'm not showing y'all how to do that unless I manage to get it right the first time. And then we'll do it. It says we need about 3 1/3 cups of vinegar. We got our measuring cup. This is for liquids. Remember, the little cups are always for like solids. And we have a giant thing of vinegar from Aldi. So I'm gonna open this bad boy up. And it only goes up to 2 cups. So we're going to pour 2 cups of this. God, it smells strong. Alright, so we had a little accident. Anyway, you're going to take your 2 cups of vinegar. And you're going to want to pour it in a pot. You do not want to use aluminum or cast iron for this. It will fuck up the pots. And it will do something really weird to the mixture. So, don't do that. Alright. Our vinegar is poured in there. And I'm going to do 7 1/3 cups of water. Now you want to make sure you're using distilled water. I'm just going to use water from my fridge, but don't use tap water. Alright, so this is the last bit of water, which was 2 cups. And might be a little more than I thought. Give me a minute. Alright, it's a little extra water. We'll be fine. If we're not, we're not. Now we're going to throw in our mix. And you will notice it is very bright yellow. Doesn't have any food colorings for the food coloring people, because I know it's that serious. We're going to mix this bad boy together as best as we can. And after that, we're going to put it on the stove to get hot, and you want it to boil. You also want to keep your glass jars, and you want to keep your pickle brine over here. You want to keep them hot, because if you put hot liquid in a cold jar, it's gonna explode. Or if you try to can it with the cold brine hot jar, you put it in hot water, it's gonna burst. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and this looks lovely, doesn't it? Yellow soup. We're gonna go ahead and wait for this to boil, and I think the jars are almost there on the boiling part, but I'm going to let them boil over until this boils over. In the meantime, you'll want to prepare your cucumbers. I personally cut mine into chips because we're not really big on spears. I've had them soaking in ice water since yesterday. I meant for them to be drained a while back, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do yesterday, so they're still in the ice water. Use pickling cucumbers. I'm not saying stored cucumbers won't be any good, but these are better for that. That's the purpose. We're going to go ahead and drain them out of the water. Basically, that's a quick and easy way to make sure they stay crisp during pickling. I had put them in pickling lime because I'm trying to see if that does a difference compared to the last couple times I've made pickles, but we will see. Alright, our jars are boiling, so that means we're going to turn that off. And if I'm not mistaken, this is also boiling, so we can go ahead and turn that off. But we're going to try to keep it hot, so we're going to keep the lid on. Alright, now that we have our little station set up, you're going to pack as many cucumber slices as you can into these jars. But you're going to leave a headspace of about, like, to the rim here, of air and liquid, because you don't want to overfill this or it's not going to pack right. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, now that we have everything packed in, we're going to go ahead and throw in our brine. And as we do that, we're going to go ahead and put them in the pot, because if you leave them like that too long, they're going to get mushy. So also, you want to take a wet paper towel or whatever and go around the rim before you put your lid on. Alright, now that all of that is done, we're going to go ahead and throw them in there for about 10 minutes, and then we'll let it sit for 5 minutes in the hot water. Alright, this is what they should look like. Alright, so this is bubbled over for about 10 minutes, so we are going to leave it 5 minutes in the water before we take them out. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and take all of your pickles out of the water, and you are going to wait about 12 hours to see if they fully sealed. It can take up to 24 if I'm not mistaken, depending on what it is. But you'll know they're sealed when this bottom part that you see that's pushed out pushes itself back in. They're probably not going to do that right now because they're really hot. I would also avoid trying to touch these because that will mess with their ability to seal. And if they don't seal, you can always get more lids and seal them. So, alright, so as you can tell, it looks like all of these cans sealed. So we will just label them and put them up now. And that is it. You have canned your first pickles with me.